all of a sudden, out of the blue, Acorns has decided to let us trade stocks. What is happening here? You need to know this because if you're an existing Acorns user, now your whole life has changed as far as what you're allowed to do within the app. And if you're not yet an Acorns user, then it opens up Acorns as a possibility for you because it's not just limited to ETFs. Now you'll be able to trade stocks too, just like everybody else. I almost can't believe Acorns is doing this. This is such a shock to me. And at the same time, it's not because they have some other motives at play here. That's my guess anyway. Acorns has always been the simplest investing platform I've ever seen. Within a few minutes, you can go from investing dud to financial stud. You pick your account, pick your risk, and within a few minutes, you're investing. You're good to go. And at least in my opinion, not so much everyone else's, part of what made it so great for beginners was the fact that you couldn't pick individual investments. You couldn't even pick individual index funds. You were stuck with a mix of ETFs that they chose for you based on the info that you put in whenever you set up the account. Now, all of that is changing. Let's talk about it. First off, what are the changes? Well, obviously, based on the title and based on what I've said so far, Acorns is adding customizable portfolios. So what this means is you'll be able to continue to invest in ETFs like you always would, but you'll also have access to individual stocks, whatever ones you want, apparently. I can't believe it. 2022 is off to a crazy start. Part of what the feature will be called is Portfolio Builder. And then within that, you can customize the portfolio. So if you want to invest in Tesla and GameStop, but still be using Acorns, now you can go for it. Or of course, you can do more sensible things too. What this means for existing users? Well, for those of us that are already investing with Acorns, it doesn't stop our flow. It doesn't hinder us from doing what we've always done, but it does change a couple of things. I already covered how Acorns axed their $1 per month plan, but if you really wanted to, you could kind of get grandfathered into it if you asked them to. So if you're doing that, you can't use this new feature. And for those of us that bumped up to the $3 per month feature, we still can't use this either. You can only use this upcoming feature if you go all the way up to the max level of $5 per month and access all of their features. Typically, the selling point for that $5 per month level was if you wanted to access investing for kids, which we already do elsewhere. Like we're doing that with Vanguard, so why pay the extra money here at Acorns? But if you want to have access to customizing your portfolio, you got to pay the extra $2 a month or use a different service, obviously. Now, if you're like me, this is pretty surprising because I just didn't think Acorns was going to do this. I thought they were always going to be that service that was pretty restricted, but they're still going to keep a little bit of restrictions and kind of guidance built into the app because if you look at the screenshots that are here on the screen that I put up from the article, what they're claiming that Acorns is going to do is recommend that people only invest 10 or at max maybe 20% of their overall portfolio in individual stocks. So they're saying you need to keep 80, 90% at least in these ETFs that we've chosen. If you want to go play around with 10 or 20%, that's up to you. But be aware of the huge amount of risk you're taking on by doing that. That feels like something more Acorns-y. I mean, the fact that they're doing this is kind of crazy, but that feels like something more in line with who they've been so far. But speaking of who they've been so far, let's talk about why Acorns is rewriting their identity. I have some hypotheses here about why Acorns is doing this. And you might be getting the sense from me that I'm surprised and I'm not necessarily super excited about this. Like I'm not chomping at the bit to go invest in stocks. And the reason for that is I'm not totally confident that Acorns is making this change to benefit us as investors. I don't think they went, you know what, today in the meeting, we need to figure out what people want the most and what would help them the most. And that's trading individual stocks. I don't think that's the case. I think they're motivated other ways. Granted, adding control and adding individual stocks is probably something people want. Like I know personally on some of my Acorns videos, people have commented, you can only do ETFs. I don't like that. I want to trade stocks. This is only for long-term investing. I want to day trade. I want to do this. And it's like, yeah, well, you can't do it. You got to go somewhere else. And that's fine. There are plenty of options. But my hunch is this. The real underlying motive and goal for them is to increase the number of users and thereby the value of the company before they go public later this year. See, if you didn't hear, Acorns filed for an IPO, or they're going to file for an IPO. And what that means is that they're going to go from a privately held company that's owned by people who started it, by the CEO, maybe by some investors, and they're going to change that and now offer people like you and me, like people in the regular world, to be shareholders in that company. Right now, they have about 4 million users. And so if this change can attract some new people, can take people who are maybe on the fence and go, hey, this can be my all-in-one investing investing, retirement, kid investing, debit card, all in one kind of financial service thing, then I'll go ahead and jump onto Acorns. If they can do that and use all their features, including this new one, to rake in some more users, let's say they get up to 5 million users sometime this year, then they also get to post that increase in revenue, because odds are if these new people are joining to use that feature, they've got to be paying the $5 per month, right? And you and me, if we're interested in it, we've got to be paying $5 per month. So what they're going to show is this massive increase in revenue. And that means the company will be worth more. It means that it can IPO at a higher stock price. And all that together means that the people that'll benefit from a high IPO price stand to make millions of dollars more than if they sat around and did nothing in between now and then. Like, they're actively working to pump that stock price. Now, is that something to be mad about? Should I be upset that they're going to try and maximize their revenue, that they're going to try and maximize their user base, they're going to grow as a company? No, I mean, that's silly. And would I even consider investing in Acorns through Acorns, like some kind of investing Acorns inception? Yeah, I think that'd be hilarious. I would totally like buy a share just because it'd be fun. But overall, I just kind of wish, I guess, that the motives were a little bit more pure to go, what do people really need, and not have such conspicuous timing with the IPO. But I'm not mad at them. Like, if I was in their shoes and you could say, hey, if you IPO at $12 a share, then you'll make $10 million. And if you can IPO at $20 a share, then you'll make whatever, $5 million more. I mean, that's pretty tempting. Give the people what they want. People want to do all this kind of day trading craziness. Let them have it. Give them the power. And remember that part of the model too for Acorns was the fact that they're not making a ton of money off of trades like a normal company would. A normal investing company, whenever you buy and sell stocks a bunch, they're making a little bit of money on each one of those moves. Acorns wasn't really doing that. They weren't benefiting in that way because we couldn't make a lot of trades. We would buy into that mix of ETFs whenever we deposited money, but that was just a little bit of a commission for them. It wasn't near the trade volume that these other investing apps have. And all that to say, they're poised to just make a ton more money from this. So here's what my hope is. My hope is that this isn't all just funneled into solely the IPO boost. My hope is that they go, hey, because of all these new features, because of all this new revenue that we're generating, we can continue to add more features to help people. I mean, this app could continue to get better. They could add more and more features. They could add, I don't know what they could add personally. I'm not an app developer, but they could continue to reinvest in the company and not just pump the price. Give us more features. Give us more redesigns. Give us more options. That would be really great. You may or may not be wondering at this point, is it something that I will use? I mean, at this point, I'm curious to try it out. And I may need to opt for the $5 per month level just so that I can make videos about it, just so that you all can see it. And you can go, hey, this seems worth it. I really like the features, or doesn't seem that great. I don't know what the point is. It's not worth it. So I would do that just as an experiment, just to share with you all. I still really like Acorns overall, and I don't have any plans to transfer the money out of it that I have in it. I'm leaving it in there. It's going to grow. And we would always have the option that if we didn't like it, we could go back down to the $3 per month level and say, nah, we're done with that. We don't care. We're going to keep our long-term perspective. We're going to do the ETF portfolio and not mess anything up. Regardless of the offerings of investing apps or what's popular or what's in the news, for me, ultimately investing is always a patience game. It's an ultra marathon and not a sprint. And picking a couple of stocks here and there won't change that. Let's hold that thought, actually, because I just found out that Acorns is actually not doing an IPO. So I think that my guess as far as what their motives are is still actually really accurate, because they still need to drive growth. They still need to show an increase in revenue for future investors. Maybe they're not going to be people like me and you right now, because through an IPO, we'd be able to buy those shares. Not so much anymore. The whole group that they were going to use to do this and make this happen ended up like imploding somehow. I don't really understand, but it didn't work out, and they have a $17 million fine to pay. So they need this revenue to pay the fine. My guess is too that Acorns is still going to want to IPO someday, so I think that the rest of this video will still apply, but I had to put that little caveat in here to be accurate because this just happened. Crazy. All right, back to the video. Hey, for fun, I like to have a secret comment section, and today the secret comment word is stork. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something about investing in storks, include a stork or a bird emoji or something else like that, and I'll keep an eye out for these because they are my favorite comments by far. Acorns is a great investing app for beginners, and I doubt that this change makes the service suddenly terrible, but there are some pretty darn bad investing services when it comes to a beginner and what it takes to be a successful investor. So if you want to know what makes them so bad and what makes other ones pretty decent, then watch this video to find out. I also chopped up a lot of pineapple and mutilated them and ate most of them afterwards, so that was a lot of fun. Check it out.